Hot off of the heels of our Elias Pettersson trade conversation video, let's shift gears and talk about players that the Vancouver Canucks have interest in. We have some new reports coming out of Russia and sportexpress.ru that the Vancouver Canucks are interested in one very particular KHL athlete. I'll leave a link in the description of this article. It was posted on sportexpress.ru last night, and it was translated to English via the Google machine. Take a look at this. Courtesy of Fyodor Nosov, the Vancouver Canucks are interested in Maxim Motorygin. As Sport Express has learned, Dynamo Moscow goaltender Maxim Motorygin is of interest to Vancouver. The player's contract with the White Blues runs until May 31st, 2026. Motorygin was not drafted by an NHL club. So, this is an interesting idea. Motorygin is actually wearing number 99 for Dynamo Moscow in the KHL, which is funny because obviously if he were to do that in the NHL, I don't think that'd be possible. But Motorygin is 23 years old, 6'1", 170, a left-handed catching goaltender. The scouting report from hockeyprospect.com back in 2019 says that he is active in his crease, he plays with authority, and has great poise. Pretty standard-sized goaltender. You could even say he's a bit small for a regular goalie. But this season in the KHL for Dynamo Moscow, Motorygin has a .918 save percentage and a .238 goals against. He had a .928 save percentage in 42 Dynamo Moscow games last year and a .917 2 years before that. He's been in the KHL full-time for 3 seasons now, and he's pretty stable based off of just the numbers. Last year, in Dynamo Moscow's first-round series loss, he had a .914 save percentage in 7 games and a .286 goals against. If you head over to the Russia 25 international stage, Motorygin had a .970 in the 2 games that he had played over there, and a .8 goals against average. It's kind of interesting because he had 0 shutouts, but I think it's because those games might have gone to overtime, or he might not have just been used. Maybe he was just there in relief, who really knows. Not too familiar with the Russia 25 team and their tournament standings. But ultimately, if you head over to the KHL as a whole, you will see that Motorygin is one of the top guys in the league in regards to save percentage. He is not the top guy, but he is top 20, which I guess is saying something when you consider the fact that he's got 22 games and some of these other guys have fewer. Ultimately, though, the value in this conversation comes with the fact that Vancouver is supposedly targeting him. Of course, this rumor is coming from Russia themselves. It's not a Vancouver-based thing, but assuming this is real, it does pose some pretty serious questions as to what the Vancouver Canucks' plans are heading into the next little while. Motorygin is not eligible to sign an NHL contract until May of this year, so it's not like Vancouver is looking for an immediate one-stop-shop solution for their goaltending woes right now. However, this does open up the possibility of maybe doing stuff in the future. If you assume the Canucks sign Motorygin, they're probably signing him for either the end of this season or the start of next season. And that gets interesting when you look at the Canucks' current goaltending situation. The Canucks have Thatcher Demko on the IR, they have Nikita Tolopilo up with the system, his contract goes on till 2028, and then Kevin Lankinen is of course going on till 2030. It's a pretty beefy Canucks goaltending situation right now. And then in the AHL, you have guys like Medvedev, Aku Koskenvuo, Yuri Patera, and Ty Young. Patera's contract expires at the end of this season, so if you assume that Patera is going to go out and Motorygin is going to come in, that's a one-for-one replacement that makes sense. However, if you're thinking about the Abbotsford Canucks distribution, that's where things get a little bit interesting as well. Medvedev is probably going to find himself in the Abbotsford Canucks system at some point, but he's in the OHL right now. He has the ability to be in the OHL next year as well. So I guess if you think that there's going to be some time for Medvedev to chill out with the Ontario Hockey League, it does open up a spot if you assume Patera's not coming back. Either that, or if you wanted to get super extreme, maybe Thatcher Demko finds himself off the Vancouver Canucks roster at some point, and that opens the door for another goaltender spot to be opened up. Lankinen becomes the default number 1, Tolopilo is the backup, and then all of a sudden Abbotsford needs maybe an extra goaltender or two. Instead of signing an ECHL guy to a PTO for Abby, why not just sign Motorygin, who's already had a good body of work in Russia this year? Now, for what it's worth, I'm not really too familiar with Dynamo Moscow and their play this season, but Motorygin is a guy that I do think is worth taking a shot at. These KHL goaltenders are usually hit or miss. For every Igor Shesterkin, you've got 2 or 3 Migo Koskinens, for example. So, yeah, it's not like Motorygin is really in that elite status territory, but he's a fine, passable option in Russia right now. For what it's worth, some of the comments on the sportexpress.ru article are pretty interesting. They have some Russians going out there in the comment section saying, firstly, hey, why would the Canucks be interested in Motorygin? They already have Tolopilo. And then another comment says that Dynamo Moscow fans are happy that Vancouver is interested in Motorygin, pretty much implying that Dynamo Moscow fans don't really like this guy and they want him gone. Now, he is the highest save percentage goaltender in their organization right now, so I don't know where that's coming from, but I guess we can take some Russian opinions with a grain of salt if they're directly refutable, I guess. Anyways, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Vancouver Canucks targeting Maxim Motorygin, a KHL goaltender who has been pretty alright? I'm not going to say he's been amazing, but I'm not going to say he's been bad either. He's been better than average, I'd say, in the KHL, and it seems like the Vancouver Canucks have some interest there. Would they be wanting to bring him over to the Abbotsford Canucks? Is this a guy that they want to see get NHL time? Is he just a replacement for Jiri Patera, assuming Patera's contract doesn't get renewed? There are a number of ways you can attack this conversation, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, what does this mean for Thatcher Demko? Does it mean really anything? How is the incorporation of Motorygin and Medvedev going to change the way Vancouver does their goaltending? Do you think the Canucks are even going to be able to sign Motorygin? It's just been reported they're the only team interested. Doesn't seem like there's a bidding war for this guy going on at all. I do kind of question, though, whether or not there are other goaltenders that are worth paying attention to. I mean, just heading over to the top of the KHL and looking at some of these names, yes, Motorygin is 23, but the top goaltender in Russia right now is also 23, although he's playing for the VHL at the moment. That's kind of interesting. I question whether or not Motorygin is the best option for Vancouver, but hey, reports are coming out that they're interested. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.